Did Post Malone fall off? I mean, kinda. Certainly the hype around his name has dropped quite a bit, with his most recent project not receiving that much buzz. I just felt as though it came and went, probably because the Utopia hype was so big. But that by no means is to say that Post is a bad artist. I believe his sophomore album, which we'll be reviewing today, Beerbongs and Bentleys, can attest to that. This hip-hop album, which it is a hip-hop album, was released back in 2018, a follow-up to his first album Stoney, which I also reviewed, and it was impressive, but it didn't come without faults. And I know Post has tried rebranding from a hip-hop artist, considering he didn't have too nice things to say about the hip-hop community, but I believe this is his strong point. So yeah, let's discuss it track by track. Paranoid is a weak opener to the album, but thankfully it gets better than this. As the title of the track would insinuate, Post has a bit of paranoia/anxiety. Paired with the track's production and Post's delivery, it can really resonate with some listeners. Lyrically, Post is grappling with his newfound fame and whether or not the relationships that he have are real. But the whole track just feels as though Post is throwing this pity party for himself, and I really just don't give a fuck. It's just really unappealing. Spoil My Night sees one of my favorite combinations of artists, which is Post Malone and Swae. Whenever they're on a track together, they rarely disappoint, and most times it's almost always amazing. The production is what you would expect on a track like this. It's hi-hats, trap drums, and a pulsating bass line, but it really pales in comparison to how great the performance we get out of these two are. Swae's feature, I think, is the second best on this album. It's really refreshing and unique, and it complements Post's voice really well. But lyrically, it does fall flat. Post is here talking about rock with me like Jumanji and something about boobies. Yeah, it's just straight ass lyrically. But it's undoubtedly a radio hit. This track did incredible numbers. So yeah, it's a hit. Rich and Sad is just complete ass. Save your time, you can skip this track. Man, my life's so sweet, I feel like Codeine. I wake up, rinse my mouth, fucking Codeine. Zack and Codeine, a clear reference to The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, is one of the better songs on this album. It has one of the best hooks, a very catchy refrain on the chorus, and Post actually shows out with this really good vocal performance around the 2 minutes and 20-second mark on this track. But the subject matter hasn't changed much on this track. It's pretty much clubs, drugs, cars, the fast life. But it's still dope. Taking Shots sounds like a parody of what a trap song is supposed to be. I don't know why it's on this album. It sucks as well. It's another skip for me. I've been fucking hoes and popping pillies, man. I feel just like a rockstar. Rockstar is undoubtedly one of his biggest hits, entirely overplayed, and I unwillingly learned the lyrics to this song just through pure osmosis of being bombarded with repeat plays. I believe this track came out like a year before the album did, and it was obviously the lead single for it. I don't even think I need to explain much. 21 pretty much slides on his verse like he normally does, so much so that there's a gay version of his verse. The beginning of the track is one of the most recognized beats now, and this track just exudes confidence, most prominently in the beginning line, which just repeats itself throughout the track. I mean, first time listening to this song, it was really great. It was a really good first listen, but now that I've heard it so much times, I don't really think it's that great anymore. But yeah, it's undoubtedly a hit. Pull up in the belly with a fucking 100,000 in my pocket. Yeah. The only saving grace of this song is the hook. Other than that, it's just another filler track. You can skip it. Psycho is another commercially successful track. It has a very intoxicating production and a very immersive atmosphere. Lyrically, it's the same as before, very materialistic, the lifestyle that fame can afford you, but you also see Post reflecting on his emotions. Even with a bit of paranoia on the hook, can't even trust nobody with all this jewelry on you. But the definite highlight of this track was tydollasign's feature. He just comes in and adds this dash of R&B flavor to this track with his very seductive voice that can pretty much convince you to do anything, and I mean anything. If he ever changes his profession, he should probably become a scammer, because he has the riz of a Ted Bundy and the charm of a Leonardo DiCaprio in The Wolf of Wall Street. He's just so smooth.
Everything, you know, I said that I am better now, better now. I only say that 'cause
Better Now was one of my favorite tracks on the first listen of this album. I'm not sure if it was a single, but on the first listen you could tell that it was another hit that Post had on his hands. The track opens up with a really catchy guitar riff. The production is a mix of hip-hop and electronic pop. It's a heartbreak song that sees Post looking back nostalgically on relationships that he's still hung up on. The track has a very catchy hook. I just gotta say, Post's hook game is really great. It's something that needs to be studied. But yeah, it conveys emotions really well. Undoubtedly a hit.
I'm kin to you. If you a 10, I add 10 to you. They be mad when I 10 to you. That's what the pay like.
Ball For Me has my favorite feature on this album, and it comes from the one and only queen of rap, Nicki Minaj. She just comes in with this boss-ass bitch energy and steals the spotlight. And she has some of the best bars on the album as well. Call me Buffy, cause that's what I slay like. Yeah, put some fucking respect on her name. Post was very good as well. It's a very engaging beat. Not sure how best to describe it. It sounds something like a hip-hop dubstep mix. Yeah, that's the best I can really do. But overall, yeah, it's a wonderful track.
they can replace you.
Otherside is a strong no. We're not doing this, no.
Of your misery. Tell me that it's all okay.
Stay is a standout, with it being so much different from the other tracks on this album. It's really stripped back with this really simple guitar and Post almost raw vocals just pouring his all on this track. It deals with the desire for a relationship and its uncertainty. Post is trying to salvage this relationship, and he does it very relatably, touching on the pain, turmoil, and sincerity that typically happens in situations like this. I guess if his rebrand from hip-hop artist is something like this, I would be here for it, because it's actually great.
You blame it on me. It's not my fault.
Blame It On Me is another filler track. I don't know why there are so many on this album. If he had just cut a few, it would have been so much better.
I've been in LA too long. I see the same bitches everywhere I go. It don't really matter.
Now, looking past that god-awful G-Eazy verse, I wouldn't mind a track like this. But on an album that's 18 tracks long, fuck no. That YG verse was alright, it was cool, I don't mind it, but fuck that G-Eazy verse.
Every time it sounds like suicide.
Jonestown, I believe, is titled after the Jonestown massacre. If that's the case, it would make sense why it's really eerie and lyrically void. If not, someone can let me know in the comments below.
Oh baby, go on, keep it spreading. Oh, yuck me up, I don't want no.
92 Explore is a track that I would typically skip. The beat isn't anything interesting, the subject matter I don't care for, but it somehow manages to have the best hook on this album. It's so fucking fun to sing along to, and I feel as though like if it had a Justin Bieber feature as well, it would go really hard. I don't know why, it's just really fucking awesome.
With the white on top. Lambo doors or the woo up drop. If you busy plotting.
Candy Paint sounds like another throwaway track, but somehow people like it. It just comes off as really cheap and low effort. It's like he had 10 extra minutes in the studio and he decided, you know what, that G-Eazy verse wasn't bad enough. Let's waste more people fucking time with this track.
And then I went and changed my life. I might check out the red.
Sugar Wraith is a very lukewarm closer to this album, but at least it's introspective and heartfelt. The loop synths on the back are probably the most engaging part of this track, and probably the part where he name drops Anthony Fantano. But yeah, Beerbongs and Bentleys, it's a shaky 7. I do think this is his best album, however it still has some of the same problems as Tony. A lot of filler songs, a bloated track list, and no real sense of direction. Like, I really wish he would just, decide, am I sticking with hip hop or am I going this alternative route? Or am I just doing whatever I want? Like something like that would be really helpful when you're going into an album like this so you can know what to expect. But regardless, this album is filled with bangers. It's undoubtedly a commercial success and the replayability is there. And the standout tracks for me would be Better Now, Ball For Me, and 92 Explore. But yeah, that's pretty much my opinion. You can let me know what's your thoughts on the album or anything else. Links are always in the description. And thank you for watching. Bye.